Good morning. My name is Elina Carpen. I'm here with the Global Energy Center at the Global Decarbonization Accelerator, where we convene thought leaders, industry executives, and innovators to push forward the decarbonization pathways amidst this climate challenge that we're currently going through. I'm here with Paris Smalls, CEO of EDEN. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I'm going to start out with just a very general question. Can you outline kind of the initiatives that EDEN is pushing forward right now, and what brings you here to COP?
Yeah. So EDEN is a company based out of Boston that's developing a rock stimulation technology. We are focused on increasing the heat recovery from geothermal reservoirs, increasing the production of natural resources like geologic hydrogen through breaking the rock and allow you to bring out more of the resource. So the reason we came to COP was because we have a lot of work in the MENA region, in Oman and in Saudi Arabia. We thought this would be a great opportunity for us to network with some of our customers and maybe meet some potential new partners.
One of the big themes at this COP has been kind of pushing forward and bringing oil and gas industries into the fold to make sure that they are pushing forward their climate initiatives. How are your nature-based technologies going to impact the way that oil and gas is viewing climate?
So a lot of these large corporations that were originally the emitters of CO2 are now trying to figure out what they're going to do and what's their role going to be in the energy transition. So if you look at like even our latest funding round, our lead investors were both really big multi-billion-dollar oil and gas companies. And they didn't invest in us because they want us to help them produce more oil and gas. They invested because they saw an opportunity for them to leverage their skill sets for geothermal and geologic hydrogen and other opportunities that are within their knowledge base, but they don't have the bandwidth to actually go after themselves.
How do you feel like this COP has been prioritizing these next generation technologies?
I think it's good. I think it's been, as we all expect, it's going to take more time for innovation to come out, for people to have behavior changes that are going to be necessary to help meet some of the goals that people have been laying out in previous COPs. But I think it's just momentum is definitely growing. It's been a lot of really high profile people here. And it's been really cool for myself as an early stage entrepreneur to see what's it going to look like in the later stages of the company's growth and what conversations need to be had.
Well, tomorrow is COP's nature-based day, thematic day. And I know that a lot of your technologies, geothermal technologies, along with hydrogen, CCUS storage, and then critical minerals, it's a necessity that the environment is going to be impacted by these technologies, despite how much it's doing for decarbonization. What are you looking to see come out of tomorrow's discussions at the Nature Day?
Well, I think people need to really embrace innovation as a key enabler to address climate. A lot of times people are looking at how do we get bigger and better solar farms or wind farms. But I think if you invest more at the early stage and new technologies that people aren't thinking of to help you produce better, cleaner minerals, to help you store carbon deeper into the ground, to help you produce more geothermal and natural hydrogen resources with new techniques that isn't being thought of, that takes a bit more patience. I think that would be the most ideal thing to come out of that, where people come together and say, hey, here's how we're going to, fund, incubate, and support these really early stage concepts that can make a really big impact in the next 5-10 years.
Geothermal is kind of an early onset technology right now. What kind of support do you need from policymakers and financing entities to make sure you're commercializing these technologies?
Geothermal takes a lot of upfront capital. So it's more of a long game, a patient game, which has been one of the reasons why it hasn't really scaled up. But I think a lot of people more recently have been looking at it a lot deeper because of the limitations with the intermittent issues of like solar and wind technologies and the really expensive cost of batteries. By the time you go and you build a big, solar and wind farm, and then you have to hook it up to, a gigawatts with the batteries, you might as well build a geothermal operation. So what we've been seeing and how we've been gaining traction is a lot in the MENA region going to, these governments and having them be the people that actually push these projects through and also offtake the energy. As opposed to in the US where it's more, you talk to a private company or operator, especially in the MENA region, the governments have to really spearhead things and be the off taker and be involved through the entire project phase for geothermal to have a meaningful impact in this region in particular.
Absolutely. Okay, so we are just over a week through this COP. We only have a few days left. What are your biggest priorities? What would you like to see come out of the last few days? And how can we carry this momentum into next year?
Yeah, I think I kind of alluded to it earlier, but it's like behavioral change, right? So my co-founder took me to one of these post-COP event dinners that he was going to, and there was this really funny comedian who was there, and the entire time he's like mildly, I wouldn't say bashing, but he's like just being honest about the situation, right? To where a lot of times you go to these COPs and these meetings and everybody talks a lot, and then you go to the next COP and people are still talking about the exact same thing, right? So I think more real tractable solutions and an honest assessment as to where we are and our goals to prevent the climate, the temperature increasing by 1.5 degrees C. And are we really there? If we're not really there, how do we get more aggressive? But then an ability to track progress from COP to COP. Like, here's what we hit, here's what we didn't hit, and here are the reasons why we didn't hit what we hit. Or here are the things that we're looking at now that we didn't look at in the last COP because of market changes, political changes, whatever it might be. It's like a real honest assessment and not just continue to say the same thing year after year. I don't think that's how you make great progress. So
thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us for another Live from COP. You can see the rest of the Atlantic Council programming at atlanticcouncil.org.